What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. My name is Josue, and I'm a guitarist from the Dominican Republic and the host of the podcast, The Chuggin. In today's episode, we have an immaculate guest. We're talking about Terrance Pettitt, touring and studio musician. He has filled in for bands like Comeback Kid, Great American Ghost, The Ghost Inside, The Devil Wears Prada, and much more. He's killing it right now. We talk about his experience as a touring musician, some advices he gave there, and lots of cool stuff about his viewpoint of what it is to be a musician in today's day and age. If you happen to enjoy this episode, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, comment, share it with your friends, and yeah, let's get into it. Yeah, so I would love to get into your daily routine because I'm really curious. What were you doing today?
Today was a little bit more of a slow start. I had a pretty late night last night, so I got up, made breakfast, went to the gym, and then I was pretty much just made a post announcing I'm going to be filling in for Devil Wears Prada.
Oh, damn.
The end of November. Yeah. Just found that out kind of recently, so it's big news. Very happy about that.
Yeah, definitely.
Just doing the tail end of the tour, which is gonna be great. But for the most part, my daily routine is, I wake up, go to the gym, make this, and then I'm usually on the kit. Whether it be working on covers or learning songs for the next band's set or rehearsing or whatever it's gonna be.
Yeah, that's sick, man. I mean, of course, I can tell you, you're folk guy.
I do like to go to the gym.
That's sick, dude. Yeah, I think, I don't know, just at least, I think aesthetically, your appearance, when I see your videos online, you're anybody could think he's a tough, mean guy or whatever, but it,
Yeah, no. I know, I get that a lot. Like the leg tattoos come off as intimidating, and the black hoodie with the hood up gives people I guess sinister impression. But pretty friendly. I like six.
You are, dude. Yeah, sick, man. So yeah, you said you're going on tour with Devil Wears Prada, right?
Yes, sir. So I'm doing the whole tour. I'm just doing the last 3 shows of the tour. Giuseppe's got to step out for a little bit, so I'm just helping him out there.
Right. Yeah, because you're a studio tour musician and session drummer, we can say.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I've been doing the touring thing for about 10 years now.
Wow.
Much more on a smaller, less busy scale until the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Recently, it's picked up a lot. It's been a lot of fun. But yeah, I also do a lot of studio work as well. Actually, I just did some songs with Nothing Nowhere. Yeah, I'm very excited about that one. I think the songs are awesome. I'm very excited for everyone to hear them.
Can't wait.
The mixes are just being finished up right now, so they sound great.
Sick, man. Yeah, I can't wait to listen to that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I believe I told you, before, I think it was my first, my third episode I had with Clayton King. He has toured with them too, guitarist.
Yeah.
Which is sick. I didn't know,
Yeah, dude, small world.
Yeah. Also, that dude, he's so talented. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting his name right now.
The singer, Nothing Nowhere?
Yeah, the singer.
Yeah, his name's Joe. Yeah.
Yeah, right, Joe. He's so good, lyrically and songwriting.
Dude, he's super, super talented. I remember a few years back, my partner and I, we found his record Trauma Factory. Yeah. And it was great, dude. We were both very happy with it. It sounded awesome. This definitely has a little bit more of that kind of energy to it as well. And yeah, I'm into it. It's fun.
Sick, man. Yeah, of course. I would love to get into how did you first get into drumming?
So basically, getting into drumming. So I started playing guitar when I was 10. I actually switched over to drums when I was 16.
Yeah.
I was I was volunteering at a summer camp program for kids that want to play music.
Yeah.
And one of the bands needed someone to play drums. So I just kind of winged it. The only practice I had prior to that was just, you remember the video game Rock Band?
Yeah, of course.
Oh yeah, that's how I learned.
Oh, well, damn, really?
So I actually got into drumming that way. And then I just kind of never went back, I continued playing guitar for a little bit. I still do here and there.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I love drumming, dude. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's so interesting because I'm a guitarist now, but I started as a drummer too. Just little kid, 5 years old. I have my first drum set. I remember I broke the cymbal the first day, just a one head.
Just wailing on it.
Yeah, I was so hyped. That was just, of course, crying as a kid. Oh, my drum set.
Yeah, no, that doesn't change as you get older either. You just keep breaking those cymbals left, right, center.
Every time I talk with a musician, that has started as really young, I will always say that's such a cool thing, right? To be able to have that type of experience, as a kid.
Recently, it's definitely started to feel more like a job.
Yeah, right.
It's been more of a hobby in a sense. It's definitely been a passion of mine for a long time. And like I said, I filled in for bands for years, and it was on the smaller side. I would work with bands like Hollowworth. I was with for a very long time. and Church Ton. I did a tour with them, and Nico from Church Ton, he now plays in Knock Loose, which is incredible, dude. It's so awesome seeing him crush it. He's one of the most talented songwriters I've ever met. But yeah, so I did a bunch of small stuff, and most of it was, it was unpaid. Like, I didn't get money while I was doing it, but you can't put a price on experience. Dude, I loved it. It was so much fun.
That's awesome, dude. I would love to know, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I wanted to ask you, like, what drew you, like, to hardcore music? Is because I believe, like, most of bands you play with, I believe they're hardcore, right?
For the most part, yeah. Yeah, a little more on the hardcore metalcore side, yeah.
Yeah.
I actually got into Avenged Sevenfold and Atreyu. Those were the first, I guess, alternative bands that I got into when I was really, really young. And then like I mentioned, when I was 16, I met that group of kids, and we actually started a band together. Yeah, that was when I found out about local shows. Up until that point, I didn't know that those existed, and hardcore was not something that I was very familiar with. I was much more familiar with a lot of deathcore bands and metalcore bands, like, for example, the Devil Wears Prada, and even the Acacia Strain and Chelsea Grin, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the singer of my very first band, he was into a lot of hardcore bands, and he showed me bands like Sleeping Giant and Terror, Dane, that kind of stuff. So that kind of opened the door to a whole new world for me.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of progressed as time went along.
That's sick to know, man. I'm always like fascinated by like how different the process could be, like from person to person, right? Like it's such a interesting thing to see. I remember I started, yeah, like probably same, yeah, like alternative, like yeah, Avenged Sevenfold, and
A lot of people our age started with.
yeah, because not to say like they're easy to listen, because it's not for everybody, but yeah, I guess like composition wise, and I think, I don't know, it's such a great
Especially
band.
at the time, dude. I mean, there's a reason they're as popular as they are. Like, they were a gateway band for a lot of people that were in their early teens. Like, I mean, I was 14 around that age when I found these bands, and said another one that I was into.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah, I think those like gateway bands kind of opened the floodgates for so many people that were our age, and took, hardcore and metalcore and metal and all these other subgenres in such a crazy direction, and it's just blown up into this whole world with
Yeah.
thousands of bands.
I have total like respect for you, because man, drum is such a like, it's such a fun, of course, like instrument to play and to listen to, but to learn, yeah, like it's definitely a challenge, at least for me.
It is.
Other people, I believe, it has been like for you at some point, especially when you're starting out. So I love to know like everybody's like gig, like for you, like what's your main drum setup?
So I have two kits that I use regularly. There's my home studio, which is a YC custom kit. That's the company I've been working with for a very long time.
Yeah.
Since 2015. So it's been a while. Yeah, I use a 22 by 14 kick, a 12 by 8 rack, and a 16 by 14 floor.
Yeah.
My hardware, I'm not super picky about it. Sometimes CB, sometimes DW, sometimes Pearl. Lately, I've been leaning more towards the DW hardware. I just find it's a little bit sturdier. And cymbals, I've flip-flop through different cymbals throughout the years. I tried Meinl for a while, and I still love them, but they're very expensive. So for a drummer that hits hard and breaks stuff, then it's a little hard to keep up with. Lately, I think for probably the last 2 or 3 years now, I've been pretty consistently going with Zildjian cymbals, and I really like them. I don't have a partnership or a deal with any cymbal companies. I'm just going with what I like. And then for my tour kit, again, YC drums, I use a 22 by 18 kick. I got a 13 by 9 rack tom. It's a little bit bigger. It's got a little bit more of a low end to it, which I think carries very, very nice, especially in the larger venues too. Really carries through. And then another 16 by 14 floor. Internet with skins. Took me a long time to get to be able to tune drums the way that make me happy.
Yeah.
And I've got this kick-ass 14 by 6.5 2 millimeter brass snare, also from YC Drums, and I threw an Evans Kevlar head on there. It's like the hybrid series.
Cool.
The thing is bulletproof, but when you crank it, dude, it sounds like a cannon.
Dude, I was going to say that, like, I love your snare sound. Like, dude, it's just,
Thank you, brother.
it's so sick. Like, I think, yeah, especially for, like hardcore, deathcore, whatever, metalcore, like, I think it's like snare is one of the most important things, right? When it comes like to drums, and of course like kick too. Especially, like when you're mixing stuff.
I find it's a lot easier to tune the snare for a live setting than it is for a studio setting. Yeah, the amount of hours I've spent in studio just like tuning up that snare to get that perfect tone, so that there's not a lot of overtone going on, but just like the perfect amount.
Sick.
But yeah, it's a process. It It takes a long time. I'm still not perfect at it. It's still something that I work on all the time. But yeah,
Sick.
the live snare I'm very happy with.
Yeah, actually, I just got recently like a kit. Yeah, like I'm again, like I'm a guitarist, but I don't know if I can show you. Like,
Yeah, I see the symbol.
yeah, so I would love to get into like drums again, like learn. Yeah, because at least for me, like I love to listen to like different kinds of. I listen to like the deathcore, like metalcore, hardcore, like gent, like progressive. Like I'm like
It's good to expand your mind. Like there's no need to limit yourself to one genre and one.
yeah, right.
Like there's so much music around. Everything's got.
For sure, I would love to continue, with the your technical skills and your approach. So how do you approach like different like when recording like in studio, versus like live shows?
Yeah. So I have a pretty different process for both. For studio work, typically I will take the song and run it through Pro Tools and I'll MIDI out what I'm going to play and then I'll learn my MIDI. I just find it's easier because like I can always hear the parts in my head, but then having to sit down and figure it out and not be able to hear it with the full song to know if it's going to work or not. Like when I can just map it out on MIDI, I can hear everything start to finish right off the bat. And it's just that works. Like that slaps.
Yeah.
So for studio, that's usually my process. And then I'll learn a song, take it to studio, and then whichever producer I'm working with, typically Kyle Marchant, he's a producer based out of Toronto. He's awesome. I love him. But he'll say, hey, this sucks, or hey, that's sick. So that's the main process for studio. For shows, I use a free program for learning stuff for shows. It's just called Reaper. And I'll throw the MP3s of that song into Reaper and I can load the tempo down. I usually take it to about 70% speed. And then I'll learn the song at 70% speed and then I'll just take it up 5% of the time until I've got it to full speed. And then I'll play through each song in the set. Typically I aim for 100 times, but it's usually between 50 to 100 times before I'll ever play it live. So it's a lot of time of prep work, but at the end of the day, it makes me a much better drummer and I'm there to do the best that I can for the band that I'm working with. So that's usually my process for live. I love it. Like I am a big fan of lists. I like keeping track of things and having like seeing a tally sheet. Love it, dude. Love it. Get me going. And I heard about this method from, do you know Eric and Porta? He drums in Night Verses, and I am blanking on the new band's name now, but he started a band with the guy from The Chariot, and it kicks ass. But he's a phenomenal drummer.
Sick.
And he made a post one time about like how he will play through a song 100 times before he plays it live. And he's a drummer that I have looked up to for a very long time. I got to tour with him back in 2015. And he's been a big inspiration of mine. So it's been great to like take things from other drummers that, I've had the chance to work with and have influenced me and kind of incorporate their methods into my own. And I think that's definitely helped along the path.
Yeah, sick, man. One of the things that like caught my attention the most from like, watching your videos online, of course, and what you like touring and all, like it's that you tour a lot and like you collaborate a lot like with bands. Like you've played with, was it that Acacia Strain? I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing. Yeah. Also Comeback Kid and like Great American Ghost, which I love that band. Just got into them recently. So sick to see you like playing with them.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And lots like more bands. So I wanted to know like what are some of your biggest like challenges you face as a touring drummer and how have you overcome them?
So I think the biggest challenge of being a touring drummer is definitely, like I'm usually filling in for somebody who's unable to make a tour. Like for example, with Comeback Kid, Lauren is their full-time drummer, but when he's on it, he's a dad, he's got young children. So when he's unable to make a tour, I step in for him. But for the most part, it's usually I'll fill in for a band. I'll learn all their songs and then I do the one tour with them. And then that would be the only one. So I think the biggest challenge is like, for the most part, every time I go on tour with a band, they have to learn a full new set. Wow. And then go into that set. And I'm usually on tour while I'm learning the next band set. Because like, for example, when I finished up the tour with Justice for the Damned, I had 2 weeks off and then I was out with the Acacia Strain. So I had to learn as much of the set as I could on the road with Justice for the Damned. Got home, worked on the stuff for 2 weeks at home, and then started that tour with them. Wow. And then I had 6 days off at the end of that tour before I went out with Comeback Kid. So it's just like I got 6 days to finish one tour for the next one and get going. So I think that's definitely the hardest challenge. Another really hard challenge, is being away from home. My partner lives here, but I mean, we both travel for work. So that definitely helps. But, not being able to see someone for like last year, I did I was away for 270 days. So it's just like it's hard not seeing your partner for that long, but
Yeah.
we make the best of it where we can. Like she came to see me in Seattle while she was working out that way.
Yeah.
And then when I was in Montreal, she was working out in Montreal. So we got to see each other for like a day. And it's a short amount of time, but you make the best of what you can. Like we're both very work driven. So
For sure, man. Yeah, I totally respect that, man. Like being a musician and being in the relationship, especially when you're on touring. Yeah, like I have like total respect for people who do that. So
yeah,
yeah,
it's
props to you.
difficult, but it's worth it 100%.
For sure, man. Yeah, I believe like any like creative people needs like someone like holding them there. At least I don't know if you feel like that. Like I feel like creatives or musicians, like we're such a we don't say it, but we're like, of course, like we're sensitive
Mhm.
and
100%. It definitely helps a lot. And, like, I think a lot of musicians in a way struggle mentally with their playing abilities because, like music and being creative and everything it's a very personal process.
yeah.
Like I'm creating something and, I'm now giving something that I've created out to the world and sharing that for everyone to either enjoy or dislike. And then you just have to kind of take their criticism or enjoyment as it comes. And I mean, personally, I struggled with that when I was younger
Yeah.
for a long time. And, I think you just have to learn that, not everybody's going to like everything. You got to do it for yourself. And at the end of the day, if you're doing it for yourself, I think you can work past anything and you'll enjoy your process a lot more.
For sure, man.
But yeah, having that support system is huge. Someone on your side to tell you you're doing good things.
Yeah. So I would love to get now like into your career management and like some industry like insights. So for you, like how has social media particularly like helped you in some way or impact your career as a drummer?
I struggled with, I don't love social media. I find I don't know if it's just myself, but you can kind of get lost in rabbit holes and just end up sitting and scrolling for an hour at a time. And you're just like, oh, what happened? So, I've tried to separate myself from social media for a long time. And it took a long time to balance out how to embrace social media in a way that could be beneficial to my career without abusing social media in a way that, takes away from my time.
Yeah.
And I think, I honestly just got lucky. I had a video on TikTok that I did a cover of a Sleep Token song and it blew up. And from that, I just kind of kept the same. I was wearing shorts and a hoodie. So I just kept doing that. And, I got the Justice for the Damn gig through my videos online. I had never met them before. Yeah. They're from Australia. So I'm from Canada. And so very far away. And so I got that job through social media and I actually talked to their drummer, Chaz, and it was great. And they're some of my favorite people that I've ever worked with, to be honest with you. I love those guys to death. And then social media. Yeah, I guess like it's a lot of word of mouth that I've got jobs from and everything. But I think having the social media presence and everything definitely helps because when bands hear about me and they're like, we need a fill in, they can, just go to my social media and just be like, well, he can play this, this, and this. So hopefully we'll be able to play it.
Yeah, definitely. I think I read this from, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name right. Jesse Already, he's a composer. So he was saying like how important, like social media is right now as your portfolio. Yeah, like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. From a musician's perspective, I think having social media is very important. And I know it sucks, like, especially for like anyone over the age of like 28, does not love having to post on social media. It's a lot of work.
Yeah,
A lot of work.
Yeah, even myself, like I'm a student and even like I can imagine like people, that have like regular jobs, and having to deal with
That's the thing, dude. It's like, not only are you a musician that's not making a lot of money, you probably have a job on the side. So whenever you're not doing music, you're working your job. And then for you to grow that music, you now have to take on basically a third job to be on social media. It's super time consuming and, like it's something that I struggled with for a long time. Just like trying to get time management down and try to be consistent. But yeah, I think even if you just start slow, just do like a couple things here and there, I think anything benefits.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, like what advice would you give to maybe like aspiring drummers or musicians who want to like to break in, into a professional music scene?
A couple things, like I think putting yourself out there is important.
Yeah.
Don't stress about, like how many views your videos are getting, about how much stuff that you're posting. There's like one of the drummers that I really respect. He's based out of Ottawa and his name's Seb and he's a phenomenal drummer. He doesn't have a large following, but he's now filling in for great bands. And I think that practice is the most important thing. And as long as you're staying consistent and tight, the engagement will come with your experience. And then if you're looking to get into the touring world, I've had a lot of people message me and just be like, hey, I'm trying to become a touring musician as my career. What do I do? And a lot of people are looking for money right off the bat. And I think there's a balance between, getting paid for it and then getting the experience. And I think sometimes taking that payment out of the equation, if you can afford to, is definitely beneficial. Like my first 6 years of touring was pretty much unpaid. Like I remember my first US tour, it was 3 weeks long, and I went into it with $200, and it was tough. But, like I love it, so I'm not going to not do it. So I think that is an important thing. But yeah, just, believe in yourself, post when you can. Don't stress about it, because the more you stress about it, the less you're going to enjoy it, and, just be happy and have fun.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I love about your videos, man. Like I can see every time like you're just having fun. Like whatever if it's a cover, like if you like recording in the show, whatever, like you're just playing as hard as you can. Yeah, it's so tight and it's so like I have like I totally respect that. Like that really inspires me. Like that's why I invited you to this podcast because I think like you have a lot to offer.
I love that. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
yeah, especially like for musicians like me, for example, like in my case, like I live in Dominican Republic. I don't know if you knew that. Maybe you can tell by my accent, or I don't know what.
I didn't know where you're from now, but yeah, that would make sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I don't care. I just want to learn, from guys like you, and at some point, like I want to, be like a full-time musician and tour and all of that. And I think it's really great to have people like you, who are really, I would say, positive and really thoughtful of their craft.
Well, thank you, dude. And at the end of the day, I think the positivity thing is the biggest thing. And like I know it's hard to stay in a positive headspace, but sometimes you just gotta make yourself feel that way. And just remember, like everybody's struggling together. There's no perfect recipe for success. It's just have fun, try and make sure you're happy, and just keep doing it. Just grind.
For sure, man. You talk a little bit there about, like your approach, like to, I guess, like networking or, building relationships in the music industry. So can you, I don't know, like develop maybe like something a little more about that? Because I would really love to know, like, how's like your actual process, to get into tour with a band?
I think just be yourself. Like I'm not really a confrontational person. Like especially when I'm working, I try to take my feelings out of the equation, especially when in studio. Like we talked about earlier, like creating is a very personal process, and there's definitely been points in the past where I found myself getting attached to parts that I have written, and it's been a part that hasn't benefited the song. When I was younger, that could have caused issues, but I think being able to take yourself out of that space and just accept that it's not about you, you're just there to support the process and to benefit the song as a whole is a big thing. And for like the touring side, most of the time when I go to fill in for a band, I've never met any of them before, so it can be a little intimidating going and just being like, all right, well, I'm gonna meet these 4 people and live with them for a month in like a tiny little van, and hopefully we get along. But I think the direction that the music scene has been heading in the last few years has been extremely positive. And there's bands that come to mind that just like exude positivity, and I really had a good time touring with them. Bands like Mugshot and bands like Spy and Prowl, and like they are all just super happy and just very thankful to be there. And I think as long as you're going into it with a mindset of you want to do this and it makes you happy, so just make the best of it. And I think that's the best way to get along with anyone, is just have fun.
Yeah, I love that. Definitely. Yeah, like, again, like we were talking about, like, have a positive mindset, right? Yeah, so I would love to know, like, how do you balance like all of this shit? Because like your professional drumming career and then like your personal life, like how do you go about that?
A little hard. I'm still figuring that out.
Yeah, of course.
It's not perfect. I think the hardest part of balancing it is it's never gonna be perfect. Like when I like, for example, last year, like I said, I was gone for 270 days, and that means I'm missing birthdays and I'm missing holidays. There's distance between yourself and your friends, and then yourself and your family. So, that can be stressful. But at the end of the day, you just got to remember, like, your family and your friends support you. And this is not a typical journey for someone to partake in. So it's like, it can be a little difficult to understand how you can do that sometimes. But if they do care about you, I tend to find, they'll be a little bit understanding. And even if you have to miss an important event, like somebody's birthday, for example, it's usually like, I have to, it's not like a choice. It's just, I have to do this. And, you know, I think that in the long term, it's more beneficial because it makes you value the people that you do care about a lot more.
Sure.
To know that, you know, they have your back and you have theirs no matter what, regardless of what the distance is. Like my best friend, Matt, for example, you know, like I've missed a couple of his birthdays and stuff like that. But I asked a band on that Just for the Damn tour.
Yeah.
I was like, I would love to do the tour with you, but I have to be home for his wedding. So I asked them if we could drop the New York show. I literally played in, I don't remember where it was, somewhere in the States. And then I flew home, went to his wedding, and then flew back the next day for the next show. So it was tough, but it's just, you know, sometimes you just don't sleep and you got to do what's best for yourself and your family and make the best of whatever case you can.
For sure, man. Yeah, I totally respect that, man. And of course, I'd love to know you, like, you know, like all of these stories and like how you overcome those type of situations. How do you see like the role of drummers, you know, like evolving in the heavy music scene or, you know, music in general?
I mean, music is definitely getting a lot more difficult to play.
Yeah.
Even looking at like, you know, going back to bands like Linkin Park and stuff, like those were a little bit of the heavier bands. And then there was bands that were like Slipknot and stuff like that. And their music got a lot harder. And then there's bands like Lorna Shore and stuff like that where I'm like, I don't even understand how Austin plays that stuff, dude. Like, I'll watch his playthroughs and he's doing doubles on the kicks and everything, and it's just crazy. My brain can't process how fast he's playing. It's like, it's insane. But I don't know, man. I think at the end of the day, it's just like I said, man, it's just attitude. Like I've noticed like a lot of musicians and drummers in particular, like are very friendly. Like every drummer that I've had the opportunity to tour with lately has been willing to help and push each other. And that's not something that I experienced 10 years ago. Like in a way I did, but it was a little bit more closed off. And I think now everyone just wants to help everyone grow. And I really like that.
Yeah.
And I think as long as everyone goes into touring and whatnot with that mentality, I think we're going to see some massive positive changes throughout the next, you know, generation of heavy music.
Yeah, great response right there. Yeah, I would love to know also like do you have any bands that you would love to tour with? Like, I don't know, it's been like your dream, you know, to
Like to fill in for?
yeah.
Spirit Box is out there. I would love to fill in for Spirit Box. That would be sick. I would love to fill in for Sleep Token, but I think that their drummer is an insanely talented individual.
And
very
unique.
That's what. Yeah. And I think his drumming style is super fun. It's like such a blend of so many genres. It's cool. It's unique. I like it. And I mean, honestly, I would love to fill in for Hatebreed. I think that would be sick.
Sick, man.
But yeah, you know, honestly, man, Comeback Kid was one of, not necessarily a bucket list band to play for, because at the time I never knew that was something that was in the realm.
Yeah.
But Wake the Dead is one of my top 5 favorite records of all time. So the fact that I get to play for them is, you know, mind-blowing. Like it's still like hard to process, you know?
Yeah, like how does that feel? You know, playing with the
Incredible.
band. Yeah.
You know, the first time that I filled in for them was extremely nerve-wracking. Like I said, I never met any of them. It was the biggest tour that I had done of my career. It was in Europe with Silverstein. So we were doing, it was probably around 1,000 to 1,500 people a night. And then the little first show of the tour, it was just like, all right, we had one rehearsal the day of the first show in Europe. And that was my first time meeting them, my first time playing with them. You know, we went right into the first show like 4 hours later. So it was definitely nerve-wracking, but those guys are some of my favorite people ever. You know, Stu and Chase are 2 guys I consider myself very close with. I hang out with them a lot on tour. You know, we have a lot of similar interests. Goose, the singer, he lives in Toronto as well, and I see him at a ton of shows, and I think that he is one of the sweetest people that I know. And you know, Jeremy, he's super responsible. He's a dad to great kids, and he's awesome, dude. Like everybody in that band is just so humble, so friendly, super welcoming, and you know, I'm very excited that I get the opportunity to play with people like that.
Awesome, man. That sounds sick.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, like playing like with one of your favorite bands, right? Like that's must feel like I don't know. I don't find a word for it, but it's just awesome.
Surreal. Yeah, it's crazy.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I think that's a good wrap up. Is it the word?
Wrap up. Yeah.
I think again, what I love about you, man, it's you just have fun with your shit, and I think we need more every day, to have musicians support each other. Like this is all this is
It's
about,
huge. Yeah. And honestly, dude, like if I can influence even one person to pick up the drums, I'm happy, dude. That's like incredible.
Yeah, yeah.
And the fact that I get to do what I get to do is something that, I've dreamed of since I was a little kid, but
Yeah.
you never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But dude, I feel very, very lucky and happy to be where I'm at. So if I can share that positivity with other people, that's the goal.
Yeah, I see also you have like in your bag like lots of like games and books, right?
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah.
can you like
Got like
damn, have whole collection, man. So
this is just one of the shelves too. Like I got
oh damn, a whole wall.
this is my nerd kingdom.
Yeah, so what do you collect there?
I got a lot of comic books.
Yeah.
I got really into comics when I was touring with Hollowworth. Yeah, Sean, the guitar player, he's a huge comic guy. He got me into it, and I fell really hard into Moon Knight. It's one of the games I really enjoyed. So I've got a ton of Moon Knight stuff. I've got a bunch of novels. I like to read, so I've got a bunch of sci-fi and fantasy novels. Like I got Game of Thrones and Da Vinci Code and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, what else have I got? I don't know. A lot of Lord of the Rings stuff, Star Wars stuff, and then just like some collectible stuff from like records I've done and whatnot.
You name like your top 5 like movies and then like top 5 games.
Ooh, okay. Shawshank Redemption. It's definitely one of my favorite movies. I'm gonna go with currently because of all time favorite movies is very hard. Yeah. I love Gladiator. I think Gladiator is a fantastic movie. I like Captain America, the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Very good movie. School of Rock, definitely up there. One of my favorite films. I've probably seen that 600 times. So
Damn.
it's got a nostalgia purpose.
Yeah, yeah.
I have extremely good memories with a lot of people and the Fast and the Furious franchise. So I think I would put the Fast and the Furious franchise in there. Not because the movies are fantastic, but just because of the memories associated.
Yeah, yeah.
In terms of games, I play old school RuneScape. And other than that, I played Fortnite for a while.
Yeah.
I messed around with Elden Ring for a bit. Destiny, I was big into Destiny for a little while. But yeah, the one that I always find myself going back to is old school RuneScape. I've got like 240 days logged.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Sick, man. That's sick. Yeah, man, it's been a amazing talk.
Dude, it's been awesome, man. Thank you again very much for having me on the show, by the way.
Man, again, like thank you for coming. It's an honor for me to have you here. Like, yeah, I've been watching your videos for a long time, and I think like deserve recognition for playing with awesome bands, and yeah, for sure, man. So again, thanks for coming, man. Really appreciate it.
Anytime, man. Thank you again very much for having me.